I'm only making this video to raise awareness on what happened, because as a matter of fact, I know as we speak, there are many more victims of these type of people. Um, I will be I will not be using any script because it's too much work, and I'm not working on a movie here. I'm just raising awareness. So I will start at the start. Um, First of all, I met this person 2-3 years ago, and he seemed like just a normal friend, very honest, very fun. We did a lot of partying, a lot of drugs, just the good times like we like it. And after at the start, nothing really happened. We never spoke about any religion or nothing, because when you're partying, who cares? But after a while, he started asking more and more things. And of course, because it's a good friend, you offer things. And even if it's not a good friend, you offer things, but that's another story. And after a while, uh, you know you get into simple conversations, like like religion. He told me he was Christian, by the way. um, so he just said it like I didn't really care, because I was too busy, I don't know, partying and doing other things. And but fast forward um, till last year, the person went back to Brazil, and then he wanted to come back, but he needed a place to stay. And because we were like, kind of good friends, he was like, I just need to stay 1 month, and I will find something. And he was also sick and so on. So I was like, okay, yeah, you can stay. And he suddenly he offered. He said like, okay, no, but I want to give something money wise. And then he was like, how much do you want? I'm like, I don't really care about it, but if you give me something, and I will say yes. So the first month he offered me, like, he told me like he will give 100 a week, and if he stays longer he will pay 100 a week. I was like, look, I don't ask it, but if you really want to do it, why not? So the first month went not so well, because actually he said like I will pay every beginning of the month, but it's like, then I was like, I understand, you do you, it's not a problem. But from the second month, this person, started disappearing and appearing and disappearing, and I don't know, being very high. And I didn't wanna tell him something about, is there any payment or anything, because at first I didn't want it, but he promised it. So I was like, you can't just let a promise, a promise is a promise. So from that month, it was just hell all the way. It was like out of control. It's And he only came back when he was like totally very weird. And then at some point, if he was here, he would stay like 2 days, 3 days in the room. He would disrespect almost everything I did. At first I was like preparing food, because he didn't eat at all. I was like, you need to eat something, like take the vitamins or do something. But this was my concern. At some point I was just concerned, like, it was a person with so much social anxiety. I was like, what's happening here, like, after the third month, if he ever, if he decided to come back, or I don't know what he was doing, I started to be really concerned because he was using a lot of pills and things, and I was like, what the hell is happening? It's like I'm not a nurse, like it's out of I felt for me it was totally out of control because he also took huh, I felt really quickly he thought that he had me, like he could just come and leave his things, and suddenly he comes at 8 in the morning, and then he didn't buy food, and the first 700 times I gave like some of my food, but then at some point I was like, no, look, you have money, the store is downstairs, you go buy your own fucking food, like. And I feel this was a moment. Then he got angry, back in the room where he likes to be, apparently. Um, Also, by the way, my room is totally, my room is all totally destroyed. He stole so much things disappeared, and the first 700 times I didn't care at all, because I was like, look, he's a person. He has his own struggles. I do respect him, Maybe I don't know what he experienced. I had the feeling, but it's like, who gives a shit? Then after a while, it was never really good because I was always stressed out, and as a friend to friend, you do care about each other, and it's like, but at some point I was like, I felt like I was full-time caring about this person, and people started also telling me like, yeah, you don't have to trust him, things, but then it's like, I was not fighting the allegations I heard about him, but I was like, it's like he has something good. He has something good. Anyways, fast forward um, to the special momentums. It's like only the last 3 months I started noticing he was more emotional, more crying, more. I don't know what was happening. I know what was happening because um, I felt he was feeling bad for something because he had to um, call people in Brazil or something, and they had to, I don't know, kill a chicken for $140, or all of those things. For me, I was aware, to be honest, what was happening, but I wanted to see. It's like I wanted to see what was really happening, and I saw just a person who is a victim of fear of apparently some group in Brazil. Um, for me, it was very confrontational. It's like, because I knew what was happening, but he didn't realize I knew it. So he was like, no, you don't know many things or something. I'm paraphrasing. He, as a person, he was not bad. Um, but until last month, I got a feeling like he stole some things. He started behaving very bad, very weird, very weird. You could see like something didn't add up totally, because I tried to help him, like sincerely. I tried to help him. He told me he had some legal issues, and he had to pay a lawyer, I don't know, €1,300. I was like, okay, let's let's fix it. It's we can fix it and pay your fucking your you can pay we can pay the lawyer and things. But apparently he had um, other ideas. So what I feel now is he he suddenly switched up, but I feel it's because of some kind of orders he got from some people, because he when he was with me, he stayed in the room. He didn't answer any calls, so he couldn't work, he couldn't bring money. He also um, didn't answer the calls of the Brazilian guy. The Brazilian guy, I assume he's very old, and I don't, it's like, who cares about him? So I started noticing, like, this is somebody, he's getting put under pressure. Also, his other friend, they had a very weird relationship, um, because they were speaking bad about each other. Like, to me, they would say things like, yeah, you shouldn't trust him, blah blah blah. I found it weird because apparently they knew each other already 10 years. So it was a very very weird relationship, but I didn't care because usually I don't care about these things. It's their things. But towards the end, suddenly, they stole things. The situation became a little bit more weird because they stole something. Suddenly, he went away. He went away to, I don't know where, but he went to, I am assuming he went to the other friend, and so on. I knew, I got messages of like, yes, I'm coming to get my stuff. I'm coming to get my stuff. I was like, okay, don't worry, take your stuff. But I heard like a group of people already, like, with him. I knew it. I heard it because they talk so loud. They can be a little bit more calm, a little bit more professional in this sense. But I was just kind of sad, sitting on the floor, and he came in and he was like, okay, and what are you gonna do? And I was like, no, nothing. I was being like, what the fuck? Are we friends, or are we like frenemies? I don't know. I didn't know what's happening. So he got his stuff and he went away. I already found it very weird that he was very wanting to be very confrontational towards me, because it's like, why towards me? It's like, I don't care. I love confrontation, by the way, but it's like, for me it was a shock, but I knew something was off. And then I think a couple of days later I noticed, like, it's weird. I saw like this knife laying on the thing he was making, and I was like, first I was like, oh yeah, he had to use a knife to make it. But then I was like, the other tools were next to it, so it was also a very weird situation. I was like, oh my god, here's my kitchen knife. And then the next day I saw like I think it was my plastic bags, and like a cardboard box with like stones in it. But I was already aware, like, okay, this is very interesting. So I took a picture of it and sent it to him. And there was also like a yeah a bag, a plastic bag with like some reddish sauce. I don't know what the fuck they put in it. There was a plastic bag just in front of my door with some reddish sauce or whatever. And this was also very weird. So I also, because I recognized the bag that I know he had these type of bags. I took a picture and I was like, ha ha ha, what is this? And he didn't really respond. And I think always when it happened, they put it downstairs, and the next day they would come and they would be waiting in front of my door. I think thinking I would open, or I think they would be just thinking I would be like coming home or whatever. But the first time they were, I was home, of course. I'm always home. I love home, but it's like the first time I noticed like they came at 3 in the midday, and they stay till 12. And then I heard them, getting up and going away. And the second time was a bit more impulsive, I think, but I already knew they had the stones and the things, which is also very weird. Okay, I did not have any conflict with them in, actually, totally no conflict, because I helped them or whatever. But it's like, why would you have stones, and why would there be a knife? It's like, I was looking for this kitchen knife. I was like, oh my god, I finally found it. Why the fuck is it here? Like, I also sent pictures to him and he didn't respond, of course. Then the next day I started noticing, because normally I never look at my doors, but then I started noticing like some reddish thing, like painted or like put on my door, which also I don't really mind. I don't really mind the color, but it's like, for me it was like, oh my god, what is oh my god, what is this? Then I saw like on my front door there was also like some reddish thing. I was like, somebody likes painting, or what is this? Yes, so it's very interesting. He also, one time he was speaking with me and he was like, oh, I think you have like a woman spirit. Are you not afraid? I was like laughing, like, no, of course not. I know I have a woman spirit. People told me already. And then another time he was speaking about his god with hair and like Versace outfit. And suddenly I was sitting like in my living room, just like a normal human, and I saw like something disappearing in my kitchen, and some kind of high pitched voice, like. So, anyways, it was a very fun experience. I give 5 stars out of 6. Thank you.